Chapter 4791. Lu Yan smiled slightly. She knew it would be easy and wouldn't hurt anyone. Then, Xiao Fei walked to the door of the secret room. It was a device that recorded his father's fingerprints and retina. Fortunately, Lu Yan had great magical powers and managed to deceive the system by making a copy out of it. The main reason was that she hacked the system and messed it up, making it less sensitive. Just like that, Xiao Fei entered the secret room. Xiao Fei had been to the secret room before. After entering, he found the place where the wine was stored. The wine was stored in barrels made of special materials, and all the wine was in one barrel. Xiao Fei's father was afraid that someone would steal the wine, so he installed an alarm under the barrel. If someone touched the tiger bone wine and the weight changed, the alarm would go off immediately. This was a piece of cake for Lu Yan. She used a sophisticated device to analyze the weight of a glass of wine. Then she installed the device under the barrel with a material of the same density without attracting attention. Xiao Fei installed the material bit by bit as he took out the wine. In the end, it was the best of both worlds. The whole process took less than 8 minutes. The guards who fainted would wake up in 10 minutes and forget what had just happened. Inside Xiao Fei's private manor, Xiao Fei walked in with a glass of wine. Lu Yan pounced on him like a wolf cub. "Baby, thank you for your hard work." "What?" Xiao Fei pouted. "Don't give me that. I want meat." "Meat? Sure. Do you want pork ribs or pork trotters? I'll make you a stew tonight. I'll make 18 dishes for you. You can have a Manchu Han Imperial feast." Lu Yan played dumb. "I don't want a Manchu Han Imperial feast. I just want one dish." "What?" Lu Yan continued to play dumb. "Lu Yan with mustard." "Ha! I can eat Lu Yan, but not mustard. It's too spicy." Lu Yan laughed wildly. "Then hurry up and wash it for me." "No problem. After I finish this I don't believe you. You've stood me up for years. You've been lying to me since you were 18. You're 20 now. Give me the wine first. I want to pack it and leave Russia immediately. Otherwise, your dad will kill me if he finds out I stole the wine." Lu Yan stopped flirting with Xiao Fei. She snatched the precious tiger bone wine from Xiao Fei's hand. Then he hurriedly sealed it in a small container. "Yan," Xiao Fei called out to Lu Yan's busy figure. "Ah. Can you not personally deliver it to that brat from the Bai clan? I don't want you two to meet." Xiao Fei knew that Lu Yan wouldn't be interested in someone of Bai Shang's level, and there wouldn't be anything between them. But Xiao Fei knew Lu Yan's charm. Bai Shang must like her very much. Even if it was a one-sided love, he didn't want his personal belongings to be peeked at. So, for the first time, he made a request to Lu Yan. He had never interfered before. To be honest, everyone knew Lu Yan's willfulness. She didn't even listen to Professor Lu, let alone him. Therefore, when Xiao Fei said this, he was actually uncertain. He might be rejected by Lu Yan in the next second, but to his surprise, Lu Yan put down the wine in her hand and turned around. She slowly walked towards Xiao Fei and put her arms around his neck. She gave him a light peck at the corner of his mouth. I'll have someone send it over. I won't see him." Xiao Fei was ecstatic to hear this. "Are you super happy?" Lu Yan asked him. Xiao Fei nodded. "There's something even happier. Do you want to try it?" Lu Yan smirked. Yes. Xiao Fei didn't care about etiquette anymore. Chapter 4792. Lu Yan smiled slightly. "You're so nice to me. I plan to take you on a trip." "That's it?" Xiao Fei's face darkened. "What? You don't like it? Forget it. I'll go by myself." "Okay, I'll go wherever you go." Afraid that the little princess would be angry, Xiao Fei immediately gave in. "Then hurry up and pack your things. We'll leave soon." "Okay." It was late at night. Lu Yan and Xiao Fei took over the Xiao family's secret guards, hacked into the surveillance cameras, and left through the back door. After a 30-minute car ride, they left on Lu Yan's private jet. When Xiao Fei's father found out that his son was kidnapped, it was already an hour after the plane took off. "Family head, the third young master is missing." "What do you mean he's missing?" Old Xiao was furious. "He's not in the private manor. Miss Lu and her subordinates are also missing. Xiao Fei's father's first reaction was that the wine had gone missing. He immediately got up and went to the secret room. He asked the guards and they all said that no one had been there. Old Xiao still didn't believe it. He opened the password lock and checked the weight of the wine. It hadn't changed at all. He felt that something was wrong. Did the girl give up so easily? Xiao Fei's father muttered to himself. He still couldn't figure out what went wrong. He had watched Lu Yan grow up over the years and knew a little about her. That child had always been someone who wouldn't give up until she reached her goal. Why did she leave so willingly this time? And it was in the middle of the night. Although his son was kidnapped, it wasn't something he could handle. Xiao Fei often went out with Lu Yan. Thinking about it, he couldn't figure out what went wrong. Old Xiao left with a heavy heart. On the private jet, Lu Yan leaned against Xiao Fei's chest and fell asleep. Xiao Fei hugged his sweetheart contentedly and slept soundly. For hours later, at 2 a.m., the plane was about to land in China. "Boss, we're almost there," Alai whispered in Lu Yan's ear. Lu Yan opened her eyes and entered the zone. "After we get off the plane, take the wine with Jinju and tell Bai Shang that I gave it to her." "If we both leave, what about you, boss?" Alai was worried about Lu Yan's safety. "I'll be fine." Thinking that Xiao Fei was here, Alai nodded and felt relieved. "Then, boss, you and young Master Qiao should be careful and keep in touch." "Yeah. Do you remember how to break the Big Dipper array?" Lu Yan asked lazily without looking up. "This subordinate remembers." Don't make any mistakes. If you lose the wine, you can go back to the headquarters and go into seclusion. Don't come out anymore." "Boss, don't worry. I'll definitely do it well." Alai thought to himself. Boss's threat was too damn serious. Lu Yan had 60 elites under her command, but only 10 of them were on missions all over the world. 8 of them were in different countries, and Duke Eljin was chosen by Lu Yan to follow her. Although the risk factor was high, the life there was good food and drink. It was the life of an immortal. Alai liked to follow boss around like this. If he went back to the headquarters and stayed on that small island, he would probably be depressed in less than a month. Therefore, no matter what, he had to do a good job with boss. After the plane landed, the 4 of them separated. He had contacted someone in advance to prepare 2 cars. One was an inconspicuous black Jeep for Alai and Jinju. It was a fancy red Porsche sports car driven by Lu Yan. In Sea City, Lu Yan drove the Porsche sports car and drove Xiao Fei through the night in the city. "Fei, do you want to see what Suyu looks like?" Lu Yan asked. "Suyu? The guy who knows Sister Mian is married but still won't let her go," Xiao Fei asked calmly. Chapter 4793. Lu Yan nodded and turned up the music in the car. "Why should we look at him? Shouldn't we look at my brother-in-law?" Xiao Fei knew all of Lu Yan's secrets. He knew she had a sister who lived like an ordinary person and was proficient in medicine. He knew she had a loving husband and lived a happy life. "I've investigated Qin Chu thoroughly. But I'm interested in Suyu." Lu Yan smirked. "Sure, but don't get into trouble." Xiao Fei wasn't afraid Lu Yan would look at other men, but he was afraid she'd get into trouble. After all, they were in China, and because of Sister Mian, they would come here often. It would be bad if she made a big scene. "Okay, I promise. I won't get into trouble." Lu Yan was in a good mood. Every time she came to this city, she felt she was only one step away from her sister. Although they couldn't meet or acknowledge each other, she was satisfied to be in the same city as her sister. Seductive Foxu Yu didn't drink with Wei Liao and Tang Chuan, which was rare. Instead, he drank with a group of rich second-generation heirs. Su Yu was a super rich man, but he couldn't be considered a second-generation heir because he was richer than his father. Therefore, Su Yu was a real rich man who could live a prosperous life without his father's help. Lu Yan and Xiao Fei walked in and sat down in a booth in the hall, looking at the sexy girl in skimpy clothes in the middle of the dance floor. Lu Yan teased Xiao Fei. "Who has a better body, me or her? Do you want to tell me the truth?" Xiao Fei asked. "Of course. She has a better body. Do you want to die?" The next second, Lu Yan pressed a dagger against Xiao Fei's waist. Weren't they on the same side? Why did this guy say the girl on the dance floor had a better body without hesitation? Lu Yen had a superb body. Except for some scratches on her skin, she was exquisite. You asked me to tell you the truth and now you're like this. Xiao Fei looked wronged. How dare you? Ask yourself. Are you telling the truth? No matter what, I'm still 16 years old and I weigh less than 100 pounds. You didn't even think about it and you said that I have a good figure. Are you deliberately slandering me? No, I'm telling the truth. That girl was in the middle of the stage, and the lights were shining brightly on her. I can see her clearly. You're always wearing a windbreaker, no matter if it's winter or summer. You wrap yourself up like a dumpling. How am I supposed to see your figure? Why don't we get a room now, and you take it off so I can take a closer look? Fuck you. Lu Yen finally realized that Xiao Fei was the one who had set her up. He almost jumped. It wouldn't be easy for him to force Lu Yen to take off her clothes with this provocation. Xiao Fei was risking his life. Psycho Xiao, let me tell you, if you say that, I'll take off my clothes right now, go on stage and dance? Do you believe that I'll get more applause than that woman? Xiao Fei's face darkened. Don't be so stubborn. Can you stop? What did you promise me before we came? Don't cause trouble. I know, but we can't see Suyu from here. He's in the private room on the top floor. What do you want? Xiao Fei's eyelids twitched and he had a bad feeling. Sure enough, the next second, Lu Yen took off her jacket and put on the waiter's uniform she had gotten from somewhere. Give me a second, I'm going to deliver some wine to Suyu's private room. With that, she disappeared in a flash. Xiao Fei. Chapter 4794. A long time later, at the grand wedding of Huamin and Qin Chu. Qin Guogua, who was 5 years old, asked Xiao Fei a question. Uncle, why do you have white hair? It's so cool, Xiao Fei answered seriously. It's all because of your auntie. So, you must remember that when you grow up and get married, don't marry someone who will make you worry. Xiao Fei's words made the twins burst into laughter. Xiao Fei's silver hair became the biggest black mark against Lu Yen. Lu Yen disappeared in a flash. It was no wonder she had so many tricks up her sleeve. She had thousands of ways to see Suyu. Feeling depressed, Xiao Fei leaned against the booth and continued playing games on his cell phone. He liked peace and quiet and wasn't interested in drunken debauchery, shaking their heads, or heavy metal. In a luxurious private room on the top floor, Suyu was in a bad mood. Wearing a white Versace short-sleeved shirt, he leaned against the sofa in the center seat. One of his hands covered half of his face. No one knew if he was drunk or if he was thinking about something. Lu Yen tied up her hair and changed into a waiter's uniform. Then, she followed a few waiters into the room. Young Master Han, here's the wine you ordered, the waiter said. The man waved his hand. Send the red wine to Lord Su. Leave the rest here. The waiter looked back at Lu Yen. Why are you still standing there? Send your wine to Lord Su. I'm new here. I don't know who Lord Su is, Lu Yen said weakly. The rich kids around them laughed. Little girl, the one with the best looks and the most charismatic is him. Lu Yen pretended to look around. In fact, she had seen Suyu's photos. She even found some secret photos of Suyu when he was a soldier on her computer. So, she knew who Suyu was. She said that on purpose as a prank. Then, Lu Yen walked up to Suyu with the red wine in her hand. Lord Su, your wine. Well, put it here. Suyu didn't even look at her. All right, do you need me to open it for you? Suyu replied in a muffled voice. Lowering her head, Lu Yen opened a bottle of wine and glanced at the cell phone in Suyu's hand. From time to time, he would turn it on, look at the desktop and then turn it off. People who didn't know better might think that he was looking at the time to see what time it was. However, Lu Yen noticed that Suyu's screensaver was her sister's photo. Although it was just a glance, it was definitely his elder sister. Lu Yen had a deep impression of Huamin's face. She had even dreamed of him many times. Lu Yen had almost all of Huamin's photos. She had saved thousands of them, from when he was a child to when he was an adult. But Lu Yen had never seen this picture before. The sister in the photo was wearing a white lab coat and a pair of black-rimmed glasses. She was dressed very old-fashioned and rustic, but when paired with that extremely delicate face, the entire atmosphere of the photo changed. She could even vaguely see Huamin's natural aura. This photo was probably taken by Su Yu in secret. It wasn't very clear, but the angle was good. It seemed that the rumors about Su Yu being infatuated with her sister were true. After opening a bottle of wine for Su Yu, Lu Yen stood up and walked out. "Hey, little girl, did you just get here?" A man stopped her. "Yeah." Lu Yen nodded. "Are you still a virgin?" the man asked in disgust. The other men around him all laughed. These rich second-generation heirs loved to play pranks and humiliate others. Other waiters wouldn't dare to say anything, but Lu Yen smiled slightly and asked him back, "Are you still a virgin?" Chapter 4795. She thought her words would piss off the thug. But to her surprise, the guy was even more shameless as he winked at Lu Yen. "Since you're so curious about your brother, why don't we find a quiet place and I'll let you test me?" Only this shameless wastrel would say such lewd words. Lu Yan's smile grew brighter. "Sure. Whoa, this new chick has guts." She dared to piss off young Master Liang. Yeah, young Master Liang has met his match. Young Master Liang had a bad reputation in the circle. Just because his family was rich, he played with all kinds of women. Moreover, his table manners were terrible. He never spent money on women and sometimes even blackmailed women. He was shameless to the core. As for why he showed up at this dinner party, it was because of his cousin. This guy's cousin was Su Yu's good friend. His friend saw that Su Yu was in a bad mood recently, so he invited him to a dinner party. He didn't expect his cousin to be so drunk and not care about his image. Young Master Liang was about to take Lu Yen away. Just then, Su Yu said, "Don't eat too badly." Su Yu's words silenced everyone. Lu Yen also turned around and narrowed her eyes, sizing him up with interest. "Lord Su?" Young Master Liang sobered up a lot. "Follow the rules wherever you go. The owner of Seductive Fox is my friend. Don't cause trouble here. Go find women outside, and don't touch the waiters here." These were Su Yu's exact words. He didn't want to save anyone, he just didn't want to cause trouble at Seductive Fox. After all, it was Rick's place. Although Su Yu wasn't as close to Rick as Qin Chu was, he still had to maintain his image. However, he still had to save face. Especially since he was in the police station, he didn't want to make things too ugly. Occasionally, Su Yu's words were like an imperial edict. His words scared young Master Liang so much that he didn't even dare to fart. Lu Yen left the room when she realized she couldn't finish the game. No one paid any attention to the new waiter. On the surface, Su Yu saved the waiter, but in reality he saved the pig head. Otherwise, if he really went out with Lu Yen, he wouldn't be able to return. She saw Su Yu and played the game. Lu Yen found a corner and took off her waitress uniform. She changed into her windbreaker and went back to find Xiao Fei. Then, from afar, he saw a woman with big breasts and big buttocks who had undergone plastic surgery. She was holding a wine glass and pestering Xiao Fei. "Handsome, just one drink." "I don't drink." Xiao Fei's face was cold. "I like cool girls like you. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a hostess nor am I a shill. My father is a famous tycoon in this city, and I'm a socialite. If you become friends with me, I promise you won't lose out. Don't you understand what I'm saying?" Xiao Fei had never been interested in these vulgar women. He would feel disgusted if he said more than a few words. "Don't be mad, handsome. I really like your type." The woman didn't seem to give up and wanted to pester him to the end. At this moment, Lu Yen walked over and patted the woman's shoulder. "Hey, big-breasted girl, do you know my husband?" "Your husband?" The woman looked puzzled. "Yeah, he's my sugar daddy. If you like him, you can, but I have to have money first." Lu Yen smirked. Xiao Fei's eyelids twitched, knowing it was over. She was addicted to the game again. "If I have more money than you, your husband will give me a game, right?" The woman looked down on Lu Yen because she didn't have any branded clothes on her. She thought Lu Yen might be a delinquent girl. "Sure, but if you lose, you'll have to take off your clothes and dance in the middle of the stage. You'll have to shout, 'I'm a bitch,' 3 times. Lu Yen crossed her arms and smiled. She knew the consequences of flirting with her man wouldn't be pleasant. Chapter 4796. Hearing Lu Yan's arrogant words, the woman was infuriated. Bitch, how dare you challenge me? Tell me, how do you want to compete? I'll play with you until you're satisfied. Their voices grew louder and louder as more and more people came to watch. In the end, even the hot dancers on the stage got off the stage. Everyone crowded around the two women. Lu Yen didn't show her real face. She disguised herself to hide her stunning face. Xiao Fei, on the other hand, didn't disguise himself, so his face was stunning. No wonder strange women came to fight over him. She didn't get any fun from Su Yu, but she got some fun from her man. Lu Yan's heart was jumping with excitement. Let's buy some alcohol. Those who can't afford it lose. No problem, the woman agreed immediately, not knowing that she had jumped into Lu Yan's trap. Lu Yan made a few calls. Waiter, do you have whiskey? Yes, mum. One for each person. The moment Lu Yan finished speaking, the crowd went wild. Whiskey usually cost more than 3,000 yuan a bottle at a place like Seductive Fox. At this time, there were at least 1,000 customers. In other words, Lu Yan spent 3 million yuan with just one sentence. The woman was a bit dumbfounded. She thought Lu Yan would start with Budweiser. She didn't expect Lu Yan to spend 3 million yuan so quickly. If she wanted to be better than Lu Yan, she had to buy something more expensive. The big-ass woman shook her body and yelled, "Royal salute, one for each person. It's my treat." Instantly, the crowd went wild again with even louder cheers. The royal salute cost 6,000 yuan a bottle, which was double the price of Lu Yan's, which was 6 million yuan. Lu Yan shook her head, thinking that her opponent was too weak. Xiao Fei secretly tugged on Lu Yan's sleeve. Stop playing. It's time to go. How can I do that? If I lose, you have to give it to someone else. Think about it. Lu Yan rolled her eyes. Xiao Fei. He couldn't do anything about his woman's stubbornness. He didn't want to hit her or scold her, and she wouldn't listen to him. Xiao Fei looked helpless. If another person dared to do this, he'd be a corpse by now. Lu Yan didn't want to waste any more time with her and went straight to the point. Waiter, how many years of Lafite do you have here? The 1982 model is currently in stock. Okay, one bottle for each of you, Lu Yan said calmly. Then, the whole room exploded. Really? No way. This woman must be crazy. 82 Lafite, oh my god. I can't believe it. She's definitely super rich. She's Su Yu's sister? Oh my god. She's burning money. The waiter was a little confused when he heard that. After a while, he came back to his senses and said, that's a lot of Lafite. We don't have any stock. It's okay. You can ask your boss to make up for it later. I'll open it first. I'll pay later. The 1982 Lafite here sells for more than 80,000 yuan a bottle. Are you really going to give everyone a bottle? The waiter felt that his heart was about to jump out. Lu Yan nodded slightly and smiled. 80,000 a bottle, for 1,000 people, 80 million, yes, that's right, 80 million. This was probably the biggest order Rick had ever received since he opened his business. The big-ass woman across from her was dumbfounded. Then, to save her face, she yelled at Lu Yan in disdain. Are you planning to clean the bar for the rest of your life to pay off your debt if you can't pay the bill? Do you think someone as poor as you can afford 80 million yuan? I don't believe you. You're just bluffing. Wrong. Did your PE teacher teach you math in elementary school? 80 million yuan plus the 3 million yuan just now. Fat woman, it's your turn. Lu Yan smiled provocatively. Chapter 4797. Hearing Lu Yan's provocation, the fat woman couldn't continue bidding. She wasn't from a wealthy family and could afford drinks that cost a few million yuan. But even if she could afford to treat a stranger to drinks that cost 80 million yuan, she wouldn't do it willingly. Besides, 80 million yuan wasn't a small amount for this woman. She didn't have that much liquid capital. Her husband, who was only in name, still had a real estate company and relied on bank loans to survive. But if she admitted defeat in front of so many people, she would lose face. So she said this. You brat. If you pay the bill with that much money, I'll lose. Don't make empty promises. I despise fake rich people like you. Fake rich people? Lu Yin smiled even more happily. Xiao Fei lowered his head even more. Those who called Lu Yen a fake rich person were probably idiots. Who was Lu Yen? She was a famous rich woman. Seeing her was like seeing a gold mine. Waiter, send me your bank account number. I'll transfer the money now. Okay, madam. The waiter wrote down Rick's bank account number on a small piece of paper. Lu Yen glanced at it and made a call. Transfer 83 million yuan to this account. 20 seconds later, the waiter received the order from the walkie-talkie. Then, he said to the guests, the boss just called and said he received the money for the drinks from this lady. Hearing this, the whole room exploded again. So much money for the drinks, he really paid for it. The woman with a big butt opposite her was dumbfounded. She didn't expect this ordinary-looking little girl in front of her to take out so much money. Fat woman, Duluth, take off your clothes and go on the dance floor. You have to look good from the back. Lu Yen smiled with a toothpick in her mouth. You cheated. You must have colluded with the boss. I don't accept this. Then, the fat woman turned to run away. How could she take off her clothes and go on the dance floor? After all, if she was photographed, how could she survive in the entertainment industry? But before she could take a few steps, Lu Yen threw out an iron hook and caught her silver dress. Then, Lu Yen pulled hard, and the dress opened from top to bottom with a tearing sound. The woman stood in the crowd in her skimpy clothes and felt ashamed. She squatted down and covered her face. I don't like people who don't keep their promises. Either you fulfill your promise and go on the dance floor, or you take out 84 million yuan and we'll continue the bet? Bodyguards? Where are my bodyguards? Kill this little bitch. Furious, the woman sent her bodyguards to beat Lu Yen. Before the two bodyguards could get close to Lu Yen, and Lu Yan's it's a matter of course. The bar managers' managers. The bar managers' managers. Loot is a woman? Lu Yen didn't push her too far. After she got onto the stage, Lu Yen shook her head and pulled Xiao Fei away. You still want a drink? Look at the time. I'm sleepy. I want to sleep. Xiao Fei threw a tantrum. Okay. Mr. Xiao, let's go to bed. Lu Yen coaxed Xiao Fei, in a good mood. After leaving the bar, they got into the sports car. Did you see Suyu? What kind of person is he? Xiao Fei was curious. Chapter 4798. Lu Yen closed her eyes and recalled carefully. How should I put it? He's not as hot-tempered as the rumors say. He doesn't seem to be in a good mood, but he really likes my sister. How did you find out so much in such a short time? Xiao Fei was puzzled. Who am I? I observe the details. Okay, ancestor, you're the best. Drive, I want to sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep together. Lu Yen always lied to Xiao Fei that he could eat meat, but all these years had passed. At most, Xiao Fei could drink a few mouthfuls of soup. Lu Yen was the type to enjoy life. With a fake passport, she booked a presidential suite in a 5-star hotel with Xiao Fei. There were many small rooms inside, but Xiao Fei squeezed in with her. Lu Yen pushed him to take a shower with a smile. However, when Xiao Fei came out of the shower, he looked at the bed and saw that Lu Yen was already asleep. He was so angry that he almost stomped his feet. Lu Yen was also tired. As soon as she got off the plane, she went out to cause trouble. She pretended to be a waiter and drank alcohol. She was really exhausted. As long as Xiao Fei was by her side, she could sleep well. Xiao Fei took off his bathrobe, revealing his smooth abs. He lay beside Lu Yen and quietly looked at her for a while. Then he hugged her and fell asleep, at the Hades mountain. Alai and Jinju ran all the way, not daring to rest. They knew the importance of the things in their hands. In the middle of the night, they broke through the array and went up the mountain. They thought that young Master Bai was already asleep. Unexpectedly, he was wearing a white cloak and waiting by the window. Who is it? Bai Shang's bodyguards were vigilant. Tell your master that our boss is here to deliver wine. Why would he deliver wine in the middle of the night? You even broke the needle. You have evil intentions, cut the crap. tell Bai Shang to come out. We're here to deliver the goods. We don't want to start a massacre. Lai was too lazy to talk nonsense with these useless people. Just as the group was about to attack, Bai Shang walked out. Young master. Bai Shang waved his hand and signaled for them to leave. Young Master Bai, we're Mr. Lu's subordinates, Lai introduced himself. Bai Chang looked at them with disappointment in his eyes. Lu Yan didn't come. He thought that she would deliver the medicine herself. Lai carefully took out the sealed it. This is my boss's idea. Please take it on time, young Master Bai. Bai Chang walked over and took the item with trembling hands. He knew what it was more than anyone else. When he was very young, his father had offered a large sum of money to buy it. Who knew that the Qiao family would not trade it for money? Over the years, his father had tried many methods, but to no avail. The only thing in the world that could cure his red fairy's poison was the tiger bone wine. Since young Master Bai has already received it, we will take our leave. Lai said as he turned around. Bai Chang made a sign, but Lai and Jinju didn't understand sign language. Fortunately, Cripple translated for him. Our young master said, "Thank you very much. It's my duty. Goodbye." Lai and Jinju then quickly disappeared into the night. Bai Chang lowered his head and looked at the small bottle. Young master, we don't even know if this thing is real or fake. Why don't we try it first? Cripple was still worried. After all, Lu Yan didn't seem reliable. However, Bai Chang replied in sign language, "If she wanted to kill me, I would have died long ago." After speaking, Bai Chang directly opened the lid and drank the liquid in the small container in one gulp. The tiger bone wine burned through his throat as if it was going to burn his entire body. For a full day and night, Bai Chang had a fever for a full day and night. The next night, when Cripple was about to go down the mountain to find a doctor, Bai Chang suddenly spoke. He only said 2 words, Lu Yan. Chapter 4799. Rather than saying that Lu Yan was in a good mood and liked this place, it was more like she liked her sister. Although they hadn't acknowledged each other, she still didn't want to leave. When Lai and Jinju returned, Lu Yan received a text message. She knew it was Bai Chang who added 1 billion yuan to her account. She wondered what his voice sounded like after he learned how to speak. While eating breakfast, Lu Yan was still in a daze. Boss? Yeah. Lu Yan snapped back to reality. Are we still going to Hong Kong? The Liuhe gang is about to hold an election. Shouldn't you use your informant there? Lai reminded her. Don't worry. It's just a small gang. Even if I become the boss, I can't do anything. Lu Yan sipped her oatmeal milk. Boss, we've been here for almost 3 days. We should go somewhere else. Otherwise, your whereabouts will be exposed soon, Jinju reminded her. Yeah. We'll leave tonight. Xiao Fei didn't say anything. He didn't want to interfere with Lu Yan's business. Oh Fei, I'll show you a photo. Lu Yan thought of something and, on a whim, opened the virtual video on her watch before she finished her breakfast. Seeing that their boss wanted to talk about family matters, the 2 subordinates left. Xiao Fei glanced at it and saw it was another photo of Mion's sister. In the past few years, Lu Yan would show Xiao Fei every time she got a new photo. So, just like Lu Yan, Xiao Fei had seen all of Huamin's photos. But he had never seen this one before. It was new. Did you take it secretly? He asked Lu Yan. Lu Yan shook her head. Then, did you get it from the surveillance cameras? Xiao Fei asked again. Lu Yan shook her head with a smile. You didn't ask my brother-in-law for it, did you? No. Let me tell you. I hacked into Su Yu's phone system and stole it. Ha, Xiao Fei, really? Xiao Fei was exasperated. When I saw this photo that night, I thought my sister was prettier. So, I hacked into Su Yu's phone system and copied this screensaver. This is Su Yu's screensaver? Xiao Fei was surprised. Lu Yan nodded. Then he's really infatuated with Sister Mion. At this time, Su Yu already knew that Huamin was a married woman, so no matter how deep his love was, he buried it in his heart. For someone like Su Yu to use this photo as a screensaver, he must be very happy. Xiao Fei suddenly remembered that 2 years ago, At Lu Yan's 18th coming-of-age ceremony, she was hunted down. Therefore, Lu Yan stayed low-key in her base, which was the island that couldn't be found on the map. At that time, only he and Professor Lu were present. Seeing Lu Yan put on the white princess gown, Xiao Fei felt like no woman in the world was as beautiful as Lu Yan. Then he disobeyed Lu Yan's order and took photos of her. Coincidentally, it was the picture of her smiling sweetly. Later, this photo became the only proof he had whenever he missed Lu Yan. Therefore, Xiao Fei could understand Su Yu's love. However, Xiao Fei was much luckier than Su Yu. Xiao Fei and Lu Yan loved each other. On the other hand, Su Yu and Huamin loved each other. After breakfast, Lu Yan secretly went to South Side to see her sister. Even though she was far away, she was still very happy. In the afternoon, Lu Yan had a video conference in her room to organize her subordinates' whereabouts and missions. At 10 p.m. that night, Lu Yan and Xiao Fei went downstairs to get on the plane and leave. As soon as they got downstairs, they saw a man in a white suit. He was standing in the lobby. He had taken off his ancient costume and put on a modern black suit, which made his white suit look more mysterious. "Hey, little mute. What a coincidence." Lu Yan walked over to greet him with a smile. Chapter 4800. She didn't notice that Xiao Fei's face was extremely cold. Fortunately, although Xiao Fei was jealous, he still knew his priorities. "I'll wait for you in the car. Don't be late." After saying this, Xiao Fei and Alai left first. Lu Yan was still wearing the exquisite black windbreaker and black boots. Her black hair fell to her waist, completely different from the day when Bai Chang saw her in the rain. This was the smart and capable Lu Yan. Bai Chang only had the cripple and 3 or 4 bodyguards behind him. He walked up to Lu Yan and smiled gently. "Little Lu, thank you for the wine." His voice was surprisingly pleasant. It was gentle but not feminine at all. It was clean and clear without any hoarseness. "Miss Lu, I'm sorry for that day. Thank you for your kindness to our young master." The cripple looked apologetic and bowed deeply to Lu Yan with the bodyguards behind him. "It's okay, stupid cripple. I've always been magnanimous." Lu Yan smiled. "I knew you were leaving today, so I came to see you off," Bai Chang said. "Ha! You must be tired. The Hades mountain is very far from here. You came out in the middle of the night. It's not hard. Compared to what you did for me, this is nothing." Bai Chang looked at Lu Yan gently as if he was looking at his sweetheart. Lu Yan felt a little embarrassed when she heard this. "Don't say that. I was paid to do this. I didn't give it to you for free. I took 2 billion yuan from you. But you and I both know that glass of wine can't be bought with 10 billion yuan, Bai Chang said. "It's okay. Did you see the guy behind me?" Lu Yan pointed in the direction Xiao Fei left. Bai Chang didn't say anything. "That's my man. The wine is from his family. I'm just using something from my family. It's good that you can talk. Don't be so bored in the future. Go out more and get some sunshine." Okay, even though Bai Chang had a lot to say, he couldn't say anything. "Let's go. If we're late, we'll be scolded." Lu Yan was still smiling. Bai Chang didn't say anything. He turned around and took a white foam box from the cripple. "Just some local specialties. Please accept them as a token of my respect." "How can I accept it?" Lu Yan looked at the box but didn't take it. Although she liked money, she wasn't greedy for it. From her point of view, Bai Chang should have given her 2 billion even though he had drunk the wine. It could be said that the two of them had feelings for each other. There was no need to talk about favors. They weren't even friends. "Take it. I feel better," Bai Chang said softly. Then, like a child, he held the box with both hands and presented it to Lu Yan. Inside the black Mercedes outside the window, Jinju sat in the driver's seat while Alai sat in the passenger seat. Xiao Fei sat at the back, his face cold. He kept looking at his watch, and with every passing minute, his face turned uglier. What's going on? What did that brat give boss? Who knows? However, boss healed his throat, so it's only right for him to give his entire fortune to boss. Alai said. Sure enough, Lu Yan came back with a suitcase. After getting into the car, Xiao Fei immediately ordered, drive. Pervert Xiao, this is a local product that someone gave me. Here, it's for you. After getting into the car, Lu Yan immediately coaxed Xiao Fei. He came all the way here to give it to you personally. Xiao Fei said sourly. You're so jealous. Don't be jealous. Let's leave, okay? Lu Yan coaxed. Xiao Fei still ignored her. If you're still angry, I'll get out of the car. I'm going to eat steak with Bai Chang. Lu Yan pretended to get out of the car. Xiao Fei immediately panicked. How dare you? Chapter 4801. Then are you still angry? Seeing Lu Yan point at his lips with her finger, Xiao Fei blushed slightly. I'm not angry. Really? Lu Yan didn't believe him. Really? Then give yourself a punch. Xiao Fei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why don't I kiss you instead? In your dreams. As soon as Lu Yan said that, Xiao Fei kissed her on the cheek. He did it on purpose and even got some saliva on her face. You disgusting guy. Your face is covered in saliva. Lu Yan put down the box in her hand and punched him. The other two pretended not to know anything. Lai even laughed. How dare you laugh? Jump over here and help me punch him, Lu Yan roared. Boss, I didn't see anything. What happened just now? Lai asked with a smile. Lu Yan, they fooled around all the way and left the car behind. Someone came to take it away. Lu Yan and the others got on the private plane. Boss, where are we going now? Lu Yan's home referred to her old home, the uninhabited island. We're going back so soon. Lai obviously hadn't had enough fun. Lu Yan crossed her legs and glared at him. If you don't want to go back, you can go to North Korea and get some goods for me. Ahem. Jinju is more suitable for this kind of thing. He's from North Korea. Hearing that he was going to North Korea, Lai immediately gave up. I'm not going either. Although Jinju was from North Korea, he didn't want to go back to that magical country. Only Lu Yan knew what had happened, and Jinju didn't mention his past again. Xiao Fei didn't care where he went, but he liked Lu Yan's island. He felt like it was a paradise and peaceful. 3 hours after the plane took off, Lu Yan remembered the specialties Bai Chang gave her. She picked up the foam box and tore open the tape with her bare hands. She found that the top layer was actually wild vegetables. Lu Yan didn't know the name of these wild vegetables. But soon, she found a clue and put the wild vegetables aside. Only then did he realize that the wild vegetables were just a cover. In fact, it was for the thing below. Layer by layer, the lush green mountain vegetables were pushed aside. What was wrapped in the middle was actually a painting. Wow. Boss, you're rich again. This must be a priceless antique. Hurry and see which dynasty it's from. Lai said excitedly. Jinju also started to gossip. It said that the Bai family has always had a lot of treasures. They are indeed a family of smugglers. Their first move is an antique. Lu Yan didn't speak, but she didn't refute her subordinate's words. After all, she had seen the priceless blue and white porcelain in Bai Chang's room. Therefore, she also thought that it was an antique painting. Perhaps it was a master-level flower like Su Dongpa or Qi Baisher. But when she unrolled the scroll, Lu Yan was dumbfounded. It was a painting of a beauty. The beauty in the painting was wearing a cheongsam, revealing a pair of long legs. It was very sexy. He was even holding an umbrella. The painting was extremely detailed. Even the specks of rain were drawn clearly. This is me? Lu Yan asked. Lai and Jinju also looked at the person in the painting, then looked at Boss. Boss, it's you. This kid actually drew me. This painting is good. Lu Yan stood up and smiled. Xiao Fei's face turned cold again. What a strong love rival. It was fine if he couldn't speak before, but now that he could, even his flirting skills had improved. Fei, hurry up and comment. Is his painting better or am I better? Lu Yan asked excitedly after circling the painting 3 times. The painting and the person are both extremely ugly, Xiao Fei said word by word. Then the air instantly froze. Chapter 4802. Lu Yan instantly grabbed Xiao Fei's neck with both hands. Tell me, How do you want to die? I want to die from pleasure. Xiao Fei actually said these 4 words very seriously. Lu Yan almost laughed out loud. Jin Ju and Alai's faces turned red, but they didn't dare to laugh out loud, afraid that their boss would skin them alive. In the end, Lu Yan laughed. Are you serious? Very serious. Just say you're jealous. You're jealous when someone drew me a beauty portrait? You're the king of jealousy. Yeah. You don't like to be jealous. Xiao Fei looked at Lu Yan. Yeah. I'm always generous. How can I be jealous? Lu Yan raised her chin. Then who spent 80 million yuan at Seductive Fox last night? To be jealous of a fat woman. Lu Yan, damn it. You're touching my sore spot. Do you believe that I'll kick you off the plane right now? Then you'll be a widow. Why would I be a widow? I'm not married to you yet. Young man, don't be so arrogant. Lu Yan reached out and pinched Xiao Fei's face. Only Lu Yan dared to do such a naughty and difficult action. If it were someone else, they would have been dead by now. So, in the eyes of Lu Yan's subordinates, even if their boss bickered with young Master Qiao, it was still a show of love. What are you two still doing here? Have you had enough dog food? Lu Yan turned around and looked at Alai and Jin Ju. It's okay. I'm quite full. Alai nodded. Do you like it? Lu Yan asked with a chuckle. It's okay. I've been with you for years and got used to it. Alai thought that their boss's dog food wasn't that good, right? Lu Yan had only been in Sea City for 3 days. During these 3 days, she only went to 2 places, South Side Recuperation Center and Seductive Fox. Rick had a background in the mafia, so he wouldn't be confused if someone suddenly spent 80 million yuan on him overnight. In the Seductive Fox nightclub, Rick leaned back in his chair and watched the surveillance video. Lu Yan changed her clothes in a blind spot and couldn't see it. But Rick knew what to do with his subordinates. For now, Rick ordered. Yes, boss. Enlarge this image for me. As the image zoomed in, a girl wearing a waitress uniform appeared. Who is this person? Is she the new waitress? His subordinate was also confused. Are you sure? Rick raised his head coldly. I'm not sure. I'll get someone from the HR department to take a look. 5 minutes later, the HR department had already confirmed that this person had never been employed before, which meant that this woman had appeared out of nowhere. His appearance was very ordinary. She was also the one who had provoked the fat woman in the bar. At that time, she had already taken off her waitress uniform. Rick wasn't familiar with this face, so he couldn't find it even after checking the information. But the silver-haired man beside this woman, Rick narrowed his eyes as if he had thought of something. Xiao Fei was here? So, the woman beside him could only be Lu Yan. Thinking of this, Rick's heart gradually turned cold. Who was Lu Yan? Wherever he went, he would kill. She was the famous king of mercenaries. Was she here to kill someone? Aside from gambling, she also watched the surveillance video and went to the private room on the top floor. Did she see Suyu? Did she want to kill Suyu? At this thought, Rick was shocked again. Chapter 4803. Lu Yan was extremely beautiful. She must be in disguise, unlike what she looked like in the surveillance video. But the only person Xiao Fei could be so inseparable from was Lu Yan. Rick thought about it carefully and didn't receive any news that Suyu was in danger. If Lu Yan wanted to kill him, Suyu would have died last night. He couldn't figure out Lu Yan's motive. But hearing that she had left, Rick was completely relieved. Guards. Boss. Return the 83 million that came in last night, the same way as it came. Boss. This. His subordinates didn't seem to understand their boss's move. They thought it would be stupid not to make money. Do as I say. Rick didn't explain further and carried out his orders. Yes, boss. On the private plane, Lu Yan leaned against Xiao Fei's chest and played games. It was one of Xiao Fei's favorite games. The game was a bit boring and monotonous. But the good thing about it was that you could never reach the end of the level. So, whenever Xiao Fei was bored, he would take it out to play a few levels. It was a good way to kill time. Seeing him enjoying the game, Lu Yan joined in. She snatched the game from Xiao Fei's hands and leaned into his chest as if he was her sofa. Xiao Fei enjoyed it. If there was someone in the world who dared to have intimate contact with Lu Yan, then it must be him. Ding. A message appeared on Lu Yan's watch. Text message. Xiao Fei reminded her. Look at it for me. Lu Yan continued playing the game without a care. Xiao Fei unlocked the password, opened the message, and said, "The 83 million yuan you spent last night has been refunded." But Lu Yan didn't seem surprised at all. She just smiled. He's a good person. It's good that he didn't dare to take it. Have you ever dealt with the Chris family? Xiao Fei wasn't familiar with Rick's family. It was the biggest Chinese mafia family in the U.S. Rick's brother was in charge of many mafia businesses. We don't have much contact with each other. The Chris family is very low-key, and Rick is even more low-key. However, he's still one of us. He's brother-in-law's brother. Lu Yan knew the relationship between Rick and Qin Chu. That was why she didn't go to other bars when she wanted to spend a lot of money on drinks. However, he would rather give the money to Rick's bar. After all, the money did not flow out. She didn't expect Rick to be so obedient. As soon as he found out it was Lu Yan's money, he went back the way he came. This comforted Lu Yan. If she had any contact with the Chris family in the future, she would definitely return the favor. Xiao Fei wasn't interested in Lu Yan's business. He was never interested in her business. Instead, he stared at the painting of a beauty in the corner. Little Yan. There's no toilet paper in the toilet. So, Lu Yan put down her cell phone and looked up at him. Lend me your portrait of beauty, he said in a formal tone. Fuck you. Lu Yan really wanted to beat him to death. She didn't even think about using her portrait of beauty to wipe his ass. Xiao Fei indeed didn't like the painting. After all, it was such a blatant confession to Lu Yan. It made him feel uncomfortable. The plane slowly landed on Lu Yan's private island. As soon as Lu Yan's plane landed, her subordinates immediately came to greet her. Dozens of people stood in 2 rows. Lu Yan jumped off the plane and jumped over the stairs that were 3 or 4 meters high. She took off her windbreaker and threw it on the thin and white sand beach. It feels good to be home. Welcome home, boss. Good boy. Your lady boss is back too. Lu Yan pointed at Xiao Fei behind her mischievously. Everyone. Chapter 4804. Xiao Fei was used to Lu Yan's teasing. He didn't speak and followed Lu Yan silently. They walked into Lu Yan's residential area. It was a beautiful mansion. The windows were all transparent glass, and it faced the sea and flowers bloomed in spring. Because of the latitude of the island, there was no winter. It was always 30 degrees all year round. Therefore, the two of them quickly changed into cool clothes. Lu Yan was wearing a bohemian dress with floral patterns and a straw hat. She looked very tall and classy. Xiao Fei was simpler. He wore blue shorts and a white short-sleeved shirt. From afar, he looked like a sunny young man. Except for Lu Yan, no one else had ever seen him smile. After showering and changing clothes, a maid handed Xiao Fei an iced coconut. Xiao Fei had just inserted the straw when Lu Yan ran over and sucked in a big mouthful. Is there anyone more shameless than you in the world? Xiao Fei asked. I don't think so. So, you should feel lucky that you have the world's limited edition version of me. Narcissistic, Lu Yan turned around and walked out of the room. I'm going to a meeting. Are you coming? I'm going out to see the fish. Okay. I want to drink fish soup. Good luck, madam. Lu Yan made a cheering gesture. Xiao Fei was speechless. They had a tacit understanding. After returning to the island, they went their separate ways. Lu Yan went to assign tasks and deal with the work at hand. Xiao Fei went out to see the fish with his subordinates. They went out until the sun set. Xiao Fei returned with all kinds of seafood on his boat. Young Master Xiao, you're awesome. Are we having a seafood feast tonight? Alai was a bit excited. Although the island was boring, these homeless people had long regarded it as their home. So, they had a strong sense of belonging. They thought that there was no competition here, no need to kill or worry about being killed. Although their boss had a bad temper, she never mistreated them. She would have seafood feasts from time to time, such as seaside barbecue. Some of Lu Yan's subordinates already had families and lived here in seclusion with their families. There was a rule in Lu Yan's mercenary group. Once they got married and had families, they would leave the mercenary group. Once they got married, they would leave the mercenary group and become logistics personnel. No more missions, no more killing, no more dangerous things. However, because they had made many enemies when they were young, they did not dare to go out. Therefore, they could only settle down here and live in seclusion. Lu Yan only assigned some odd jobs to those who were married. Here, they built houses, watered flowers, fished, transported goods, planted fruits and so on. Although Lu Yan gave each of them a pension of $10,000 a month, they didn't need the money at all. Life was very comfortable. Some of them even had children. The island was full of joy and harmony. This group of people was not at all like the rumors outside that they were homicidal maniacs. Like a tourist, Lu Yan took photos of them with her SLR camera. "Boss, the crabs are ready. And this, grilled prawns. Young Master Qiao is amazing today. This prawn is a rare species, but the meat is very good." Alai came over with a tray and placed the grilled prawns and steamed crabs before Lu Yan and Xiao Fei. "Don't be so busy. Go and eat. Let me know if you need anything." Alai jogged away and drank beer with his brothers. Looking at the happy scene on the island, Lu Yan sighed. "Fei, if something happens to me one day, I'll leave them to you. You have to continue taking care of them for me." Xiao Fei's heart tightened when he heard this. Chapter 48:05. To her surprise, Xiao Fei shook his head firmly. "That's impossible. Don't count on me." Lu Yan glanced at the man leaning against her back. "What? You're gone? If I die, you won't care about my people? Psycho Xiao, how can you be so heartless? Do you think I'll marry you when you're like this? It's a risk." Then Lu Yan grabbed Xiao Fei's ears with both hands. Xiao Fei looked into Lu Yan's eyes quietly, not joking at all. "If you die, I won't live alone either. So, you asked me to take care of them. I can't fulfill your wish." Lu Yan's body shook when she heard his words. Fei, she would be lying if she said she wasn't touched. But Lu Yan was such a person. Even if she was touched, she wouldn't cry. After all these years, her heart had become as hard as a rock. She wouldn't be as emotional as Huamin. "I'm not joking. I'm serious. So, Yan, you must live well. Because as long as you live, I'll live as long as you live." "Oh, so much. I'll stop joking with you. You're so emotional." Lu Yan blushed. She let go of Xiao Fei and jumped down from his arms. The fearless Lu Yan was afraid of Xiao Fei's words of love. Jumping down from his arms, Lu Yan ran toward her buddies not far away. When the group of males with excessive hormones saw their boss coming over, they became even more excited and raised their cups to drink to their heart's content. Loud voices came from not far away. The men asked in unison, "Who's the most beautiful woman in the world?" Then Alai stood on a stool and raised a bottle of cold beer, shouting, "I'm the most beautiful woman in the world." Lu Yan laughed so hard that she almost spat out the beer in her mouth. Then she yelled, "I don't know if I'm the most beautiful woman in the world, but I'm sure you guys are the best bootlickers in the world." At this moment, there were no more fights on the island, no more cheating, no more traps, and no more bombs that could explode at any moment. It was Lu Yan who had built a pure land here, a peaceful kingdom. He wanted to give this group of people who had no one to rely on an eternal home. Xiao Fei put his arms behind his head as a pillow. Then he lay on the bench and looked up at the sky. After sunset, the beach became even more gorgeous. The sun had already disappeared behind the clouds. It even brought with it a touch of golden red at the edge of the dark clouds. Seagulls flew past in twos and threes. Listening to the sound of the rising and falling tides, there were no more distracting thoughts in his heart. Xiao Fei used to think that Lu Yan was his woman, his love, and his life partner. Even now, they still felt that Lu Yan was their god and their faith. He was someone who could bring them peace and tranquility. That was why his woman was so dazzling. No matter what happened in the future, whether or not Lu Yan was still the most wanted criminal of Interpol and the #1 target of terrorists, Lu Yen was still the most wanted criminal of Interpol. He would protect her for the rest of her life, until they left this world. Alai was drunk. He came over with 2 bottles of wine and handed one to Xiao Fei. Xiao Fei stood up. Alai was a little muffled. "Young Master Xiao, come, let's have a toast. Today was really fun." Xiao Fei took it obediently. Speaking of which, Xiao Fei wasn't very familiar with Lu Yan's subordinates because he had always been a man of few words. Even if he stood here as Lu Yan's fiancé, he still didn't show off or stand out. "Young Master Xiao, I'm a servant. There are some things that I know I shouldn't ask, but today, with the help of alcohol, I want to ask you something on behalf of our boss." "Go ahead." Chapter 4806. Alai fell onto the bench in a daze, spilling a lot of wine from the bottle. "When are you going to marry my boss and give her a title?" Hearing this, Xiao Fei chuckled. "Young Master Xiao, I'm not joking. I'm serious. Look, you've been with my boss all these years. You eat and live together every day. Everyone knows you two are a couple, but your family hasn't said anything or given you a betrothal gift. If you live with my boss every day, your reputation will be tarnished. Why don't you get married soon? We can attend your wedding." Then Alai burped. When he was sober, he would never dare to ask Xiao Fei these questions. It wasn't because he was afraid of how powerful the Xiao family was, but because he knew Xiao Fei was very powerful. He had saved Lu Yen from danger several times. With his abilities, they all admired him. Alai was scolded the most by Lu Yen, but he also went on missions with her the most. They were very close. They didn't dare to have ordinary romantic feelings for Lu Yen. After all, in their hearts, Lu Yen was already a god who could do anything. So, her sacred status was unshakable. However, no matter how powerful Lu Yen was, she was still a woman. She had to have her own home sooner or later. Lu Yen gave them a pure land and a home. Naturally, they hoped Lu Yen could have her own home, get married, and have children. They even hoped she could be a gentle mother and live an ordinary life. So, under the influence of alcohol, Alai came to question Xiao Fei. He thought Xiao Fei would be cold, but to his surprise, Xiao Fei smiled. "Hey, young Master Xiao. I'm serious. I know I'm just a servant and don't have the right to interfere in the matters between masters. But my boss is really good. You can't miss this opportunity. So, young Master Xiao, you must seize the opportunity. It's not that I don't want to seize the opportunity, but your boss won't give me a chance. How about, you drug your boss tonight and let me have sex with her first?" Xiao Fei teased him. Alai was so scared that he woke up half of his drunkenness. "I can't do that. If I do that, the first thing my boss will do when she wakes up tomorrow is to chop me into pieces." He knew Lu Yan's temper. If Lu Yan's first time was drugged, she would definitely give it to Xiao Fei. How would she be willing? With that little temper, wouldn't she blow up the entire island? "You brat, what are you doing here? They're drinking with you over there. Get lost." Alai was about to say something when Lu Yen grabbed him and threw him out. That strength was enough to make any man submit. Alai was so scared that he ran away, not daring to mention what had just happened. Sitting across from him, Lu Yen asked with a grin, "What did this little bastard say to you?" "Ah, he said that after seeing me for so long, he still can't get his hands on you. His heart aches for me, and he wants to help me get some knockout drugs, so that he can rape you tonight." "Bullshit, are you serious? That little bastard dares to say that?" Lu Yen obviously didn't believe him. "Well, I think that's a good idea. Why don't we give it a try?" Xiao Fei smiled. "Testerus, you better get rid of those messy thoughts." Xiao Fei sighed slightly. He took Lu Yan's little hand and rubbed it in his palm. "Yen, when the time comes, you'll fall to the ground. You're a little white melon that's almost ripe. If you don't let me pick you, you'll fall to the ground and become a rotten melon. That's a fucking analogy. If you want to fucking sleep with me, just say it. Don't use an analogy with me." "Yes, I want to fuck you. So what? Do you dare?" Xiao Fei used the most clumsy method to provoke her. Chapter 4807. Normally, Lu Yen wouldn't be fooled, But today, she was drunk. Moreover, Lu Yen didn't have any scruples in her own territory, so she was in high spirits and drank a few more glasses. Xiao Fei provoked her and she immediately jumped into the trap. Fine, I'm not afraid of you. Choose the place. Say, the beach, the bedroom, the ammunition depot, or the tower. Xiao Fei, forget about the ammunition depot and the tower. It's not safe. We don't want the beach either. There are so many people. Let's go back to the room and take our time. Xiao Fei smiled sweetly. Okay, let's go. Whoever backs off today is a coward, Lu Yen said boldly and threw herself into Xiao Fei's arms. Then, the two of them left. Everyone was well aware of what was going on between the two of them. Some of them even thought that the two of them had slept together. Only his bodyguard, Duke Aeljin, knew that young Master Qiao was suffering because he hadn't had sex yet. Along the way, Xiao Fei was a little excited, although he knew that he would have sex with her sooner or later. But the earlier he ate, the better. In fact, he was conflicted with every step he took, afraid that Lu Yen would change her mind at the last minute. It wasn't like she hadn't done this before. In Lu Yan's private mansion, Xiao Fei carried her to the top floor. The two of them didn't have time to take a shower or even take off their clothes. Xiao Fei released the primordial force that he had been holding in for too long and pounced on her. Lu Yen didn't dare to show weakness. She was originally on the bottom, but she suddenly flipped over and stood on top. The two of them kissed passionately. Xiao Fei felt as if there was a ball of fire burning in his body. His big hand was placed on Lu Yan's waist, but before he could pull open the bow tie of her dress, Lu Yan's watch rang. It was very inappropriate, and not at the right time. But he still had to pick it up, because those who could dial Lu Yan's watch must have important things to do, and no one would gossip. Sure enough, Lu Yen pushed Xiao Fei away and suddenly stood up. Then she pressed the virtual call button. Boss, bad news. Ian's men just attacked the professor's house in Miami. Isn't Dad in LA? Lu Yen frowned slightly. For hours ago, the professor secretly went to Miami with 2 bodyguards. I don't know what they were going to do, but Ian's men went there in 3 trucks with heavy weapons. One of the 2 bodyguards was killed and the other was injured. The situation is critical. Where are our people? Anxious, Lu Yen jumped up and walked to the window. Most of our people are in South Africa. There are only 2 here. I just transferred them over. They can hold them off for a while, but their firepower is too strong. I'm afraid. Lu Yan's heart sank. At this moment, no matter how anxious he was, it was impossible to quench his immediate thirst. Even if they took off now, it would take 7 or 8 hours to reach Miami. At this moment, Xiao Fei walked up behind her. My men are over there. You do? Lu Yen looked back with surprise in her eyes. Saving people is more important. I'll make a call. As he spoke, he picked up his personal cell phone and made a call. After putting down the phone, he patted Lu Yan's shoulder. They'll be here soon. Don't worry. Uncle Lu will be fine. Fei, how come you have forces in Miami? Lu Yen was so happy that she kissed Xiao Fei's face. Xiao Nen has been very close to some black organizations in the U.S. In the past 3 years, I've arranged people and spies in all the places he's in contact with. Holy shit. That's awesome. My 3rd young master Qiao, Lu Yen praised. Don't give me that. Now that the problem is solved, shall we continue? Xiao Fei said with a straight face. Chapter 4808. Hearing Xiao Fei's reminder, Lu Yen coughed awkwardly. Ahem, you're not going to? Xiao Fei rolled his eyes. I. Lu Yen was thinking of an excuse. You just said that whoever goes back on his word is a coward, Xiao Fei said. Hello, Grandpa Xiao. Xiao Fei, look at how beautiful the moon is tonight. Do you want to continue drinking? I have a bottle of 100-year-old peach blossom wine. Do you know how much it costs outside? 30 million yuan a bottle. I bought it from the top winemaker in the country. Do you want to drink it? After being disrupted by the phone call, Lu Yen was no longer in the mood to continue drinking. She was sober from the alcohol, so she suggested to continue drinking. Xiao Fei didn't want to ruin her mood, so he nodded. Okay. Come and get the wine. Bring me my bottle of peach blossom wine. Also, get some side dishes. Yes, boss. 20 minutes later. On the top floor of Lu Yan's private residence, the two of them were drinking on the exquisite Japanese-style tatame. This was the highest place on the entire island, and the top floor was made of transparent glass, giving them a perfect view of the stars and the moon. A bottle of wine and 4 exquisite side dishes. Lu Yan was in the mood to coax Xiao Fei. She took the initiative to fill his glass. Then, she purposely imitated the coquettish voice of online streamers and said in a coquettish voice, "Baby, don't be mad at me, okay? If you talk to me like this, I'll throw up." Xiao Fei was still serious. You're a bitch. You want to throw up when I talk to you like a spoiled child, right? Then I'll talk to you with force from now on. Xiao Fei smiled but didn't say anything. He raised his glass and sipped. Lu Yan looked at the man opposite her. In her heart, her man had always been excellent. He was handsome, good at fighting, quiet, and low-key. He fit her requirements perfectly. Most importantly, they had been childhood sweethearts for many years. She had known Xiao Fei longer than her sister and brother-in-law, which was one of the reasons why she was proud of him. "Fei, all these years, have I never told you what the thing in my father's hand is?" Sure. Xiao Fei knew what she wanted to say, but he didn't want Lu Yan to open her mouth. Lu Yan smiled with the wine glass in her hand. "Don't worry. This room is equipped with the latest anti-eavesdropping system developed by my dad. Even the most advanced countries can't crack it." Then she smiled bitterly. "Sometimes I really hate my dad. Say, he's an old man in his old age. Instead of enjoying his retirement, what's the use of studying those lousy things? Look at those old people in our country. After they retire, they play chess and drink tea all day long. They can even go square dancing and flirt with beautiful aunties. How magical is that kind of life?" Xiao Fei was speechless. He, on the other hand, talks about bombs all day long. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm a bomb spirit created by him," Lu Yan said. Xiao Fei almost burst out laughing. "Hold it in, don't laugh. I'm serious. If my dad chose to live like an ordinary person, would I be able to? I might still be in some ordinary city in China, going to a third-rate university, having an obedient boyfriend, and then go to the KTV every few days to howl." Then, Lu Yan drank a glass of wine gloomily. "Yan, I'll definitely give you a normal life like that." Every time Lu Yan complained about how hard life was, Xiao Fei's heart ached for her. "Don't coax me. I know I'm a person with no tomorrow. Maybe I'll die at any time." Lu Yan smiled. Chapter 4809. Don't talk nonsense. After Xiao Fei said those words, he used his actions to prove how much he cared. He gently kissed Lu Yan's mouth. It was a really gentle kiss. Lu Yan was stunned by the sudden kiss. Then, when she regained her senses, she responded passionately. Although she had never been nice to Xiao Fei, or rather, she always tortured him. However, Lu Yan had only loved one man in her life, and she had no intention of changing him. She had always known how Xiao Fei felt about her all these years. He even took care of her more than the professor. During those years, Lu Yan was injured, hospitalized, had surgery, got shot, and had to deal with the difficulties of establishing the mercenary group. Xiao Fei had accompanied her through many, many difficult times. She would never give up on this love that would go through thick and thin together, and she would never give it up. If possible, she really wanted to be with him for the rest of her life. She would never have to live that kind of life again. Midnight, Sea City. At South Hill Manor. When Lu Yan woke up, she was very depressed. It had been almost 3 months since she left Xiao Fei. Yes, ever since she came back to save her sister and was hit by the dream creator's nightmare. The Xiao Fei in the dream had always been fake, a dream creator in disguise. She was smart enough to see through it. In the end, Su Yu's sacrifice allowed everyone to escape from the nightmare. Huamin was sad for Su Yu, and Lu Yan was sad for Xiao Fei. Because Xiao Fei was missing, for more than 3 months, ever since Lu Yan woke up from the nightmare, there had been no news of him. Her people had been looking for him all over the world. The Qiao family in Russia had been turned upside down. At first, Lu Yan thought that old Master Qiao was unhappy with her being with Qiao Fei, so he had imprisoned his son. Later, she realized that the Qiao family was also looking for Qiao Fei. Only then did she know that he was really missing. In her dreams, she had dreamed countless times of them kissing passionately on that private island. When she woke up, she still felt Qiao Fei's unique warmth on her lips. However, Lu Yan knew that this was a dream. She got out of bed gloomily. This was the guest bedroom of Huomin's South Hill Manor. She was barefoot and walked softly. She lit a cigarette as she walked. She was different from Huomin. Huomin only smoked when he was depressed. Lu Yan never smoked, she only liked to carry cigarettes with her. Because the smoke could cover her scent, even if it was the smell of blood from her injuries, it would not be easily discovered by her opponent. It was Lu Yan's first time smoking. She didn't know how to smoke, so she coughed after taking a puff. Although she tried her best to suppress her voice, Huomin woke up. Huomin gently got up. Qin Chu patted her back and said, "Put on your jacket. It's cold outside. Comfort Yan well." "Yes." Huomin nodded and walked out of the bedroom. She saw Lu Yan leaning against the wall in the hallway, looking dispirited. "Sis, did I wake you up? Can't sleep?" Huomin walked over and leaned against the wall with her. "Yeah. I dreamed of Qiao Fei." Lu Yan smiled. Huomin didn't speak. Lu Yan took out a thin cigarette and handed it to Huomin. "Do you want one?" "Okay." Huomin took it and lit it skillfully. Then he took a puff. "Sis, do you think he's already—" "He's not." Huomin knew what she was going to say. People were all like this. When they encountered difficulties, they couldn't help but think pessimistically. Even Lu Yan was no exception. She had never been so agitated before, including when Qiao Fei was shot and was about to die. Chapter 48:10. That time, she knew that Qiao Fei wouldn't die. He had a father, sister, and brother-in-law. The three masters in the family wouldn't let anything happen to Qiao Fei. But this time, Qiao Fei disappeared, or rather, lost contact with her. For 3 whole months, there was no news from him. Before, when Qiao Fei wasn't with her, they wouldn't see each other for 2 months at most. But he would video call her every day, almost never missing a day. So, Lu Yan was used to contacting Qiao Fei every day. She couldn't get used to the sudden interruption. "Sis, he would never stop contacting me, because he's afraid that I'll be worried. If he's still alive and in this world, he wouldn't have stopped contacting me for more than 100 days, even to let me know that he's safe. I'm not pessimistic, I just think he might really be gone." Lu Yan lowered her head, her voice hoarse. She wanted to cry, but no tears came out. When people were in extreme sorrow, they couldn't cry. Because their minds were blank, they couldn't think. Huomin understood Lu Yan's feelings, because she had experienced Qin Chu's plane crash and didn't come back for 4 years. "Yan, I know how you feel. Qin Chu also disappeared, and no one found his body. For 4 whole years, I didn't give up. Do you know what kind of faith it is? You've only been gone for 3 months, don't be so pessimistic." "Sis, I'm so scared." Lu Yan threw away the unfinished cigarette butt and it fell to the ground. Then she threw herself into Huomin's arms. She was such a strong person, but at this moment, she needed a warm embrace to heal herself. Huomin's heart ached. Afraid that the cigarette in his hand would burn her, he quickly threw away his cigarette butt. He stepped on it and gently hugged Lu Yan. "Listen to me. We're not that weak, so don't be defeated by everything in front of you. I'm the best example. I spent 4 years waiting for Qin Chu to come back. I believe Fei is still alive. He's still waiting for you, waiting to grow old with you. If I can see Fei again, I'll marry him and have children with him immediately." Lu Yan looked up with tears in her eyes. Huomin nodded, then came Lu Yan's silent sobs and Huomin's endless heartache. Lu Yan was very sad about Qiao Fei's disappearance. After all, even with Lu Yan's strength, she couldn't find him, which made people feel pessimistic. But who knew that Qiao Fei was only missing? After all, there was still hope for him to come back alive. But Su Yu, in order to save everyone, so you really stayed in the nightmare realm forever. Although he tried his best not to think about it, the slightest thought of it would cause him to feel pain. Huamin felt as if millions of silver needles were stabbing his heart, making him want to die. After comforting Lu Yen for a while, Huamin watched her go back to her room quietly. Relieved, he returned to the master bedroom. When she returned, Qin Chu had already gotten up. Looking at the time, it was 1 in the morning. Qin Chu poured a cup of warm water for Huamin and handed it to him. "Honey, why aren't you sleeping?" "I'm worried about you too." "How's Yen?" Qin Chu asked. "She's not doing well. She thinks Fei is dead." Huamin sighed slightly. "He definitely can't if he's dead. I feel like he was kidnapped." "Oh? Honey, do you have any clues?" Huamin leaned over and sat on the edge of the bed. Holding Qin Chu's arm, he looked excited. Chapter 48:11. Qin Chu looked at Huamin guiltily. "I don't have any clues. It's just a guess." Huamin's eyes dimmed. "Yes, if even Lu Yen couldn't find him, who else in the world could? You're not in good health. Go to bed early. Rick and I are investigating Fei's case. If we have any news, we'll inform Yen immediately." Huamin didn't want Qin Chu to worry, so he went to bed obediently. After giving birth to Qin Guogua, Huamin's body hadn't been in good health. The main reason was that she had cried too much during the confinement period, which left some hidden injuries in her eyes, and she didn't have enough blood. Therefore, it had been almost 3 months since she gave birth, but her body had been weak. It was worse than when she gave birth to the twins. After the baby was born, Qin Chu's parents and a nursery nurse took care of him. Huamin couldn't get over Su Yu for a long time, so he fell seriously ill. Qin Chu could understand Lu Yan's feelings, but his heart ached for his wife. So, after coaxing Huamin to sleep, Qin Chu called Rick, who was far away in the States. Rick had been in a semi-retired state ever since Cece gave birth to Jean. Like Qin Chu, Rick had become a slave to his daughter. He wasn't willing to take on any business in the underworld and lived a semi-retired life. If Qin Chu didn't need his help, he really wanted to be an ordinary father. Qin Chu contacted Rick again, and the two analyzed the scattered clues before Xiao Fei went missing. Until midnight, at 6 a.m. Lu Yen ran down the mountain from South Hill Manor to Su Yu's former private mansion. The journey was at least 30 miles long. But who was Lu Yen? Her physique was even better than that of a Special Forces soldier. She was wearing a white Nike sportswear, a black baseball cap, and white running shoes. And heard someone knock on the door and opened it in a daze. He was slightly surprised when he saw Lu Yen. "Goddess Lu Yen. I'm so hungry. Is there breakfast?" "He will do it right away." With that, and turned around and ran into the kitchen. After Su Yu fell into a coma, Shaoan stayed by his side and refused to leave. Su Yu's house was now slightly empty. In the beginning, everyone would come every day, but later, no one was willing to come anymore. It was not because she had forgotten about Su Yu, but because she missed him too much. Therefore, no one dared to come. Lu Yen ran to find him, and was the only person she was familiar with here other than her sister's family. She wanted to freeload breakfast. Just then, Lu Yan's watch lit up. She received a mysterious text message. "Do you want to see him? Follow the address, one person." Lu Yen panicked and left Su Yu's house without saying goodbye. Following the address, Lu Yen came to an abandoned ship factory by the sea in a remote part of Sea City. Then, every few minutes, she would receive a mysterious text message. She followed the text message and kept walking. She walked to the top of the abandoned ship, then, she saw a black suitcase. When she saw it, Lu Yan's heart sank. Then, a huge sense of panic spread from the bottom of her heart. At this moment, the mysterious text message came again. "Open it. The person you want to see is inside. But I promise you'll never forget it." Lu Yen didn't dare to open it. This scene was too familiar. She was especially afraid that it contained Xiao Fei's body. She raised her hand and scanned the suitcase with her watch, eliminating the danger of a bomb. Then she walked toward the suitcase step by step. After 10 seconds of silence, Lu Yen opened it with both hands. It was empty. Then, a familiar voice sounded behind her. Hey, silly girl, I'm here. The person was wearing a navy blue Russian military uniform. He had short silver hair and was holding a black phone in his hand. Lu Yen turned around abruptly. The moment she saw clearly, tears streamed down her face. Lu Yan's narration. Chapter 48:12. According to our station, N.I. Yang, who retired from the music industry for more than 10 years, flew back to China early this morning. He was accompanied by his wife, Xianxia. Qin Zhaozhao, one of the heirs of the GK Corporation and the youngest member of the board of directors, was in charge of picking them up. Will GK make any big moves in the future? Let's wait and see if N.I. Yang will make a comeback for GK. A female anchorwoman's report came from a black Rolls-Royce. Everyone in the car laughed. Sitting in the passenger seat was a girl who was about 17 or 18 years old. She was very pretty. Her long, slightly curly hair was the color of coffee, her eyes were the same as Qin Chu's, and her looks were also the essence of Qin Chu and Huamin's. The corners of her lips curled up slightly. Uncle N.I. Yang is already so old, yet he's still making a comeback. These domestic media outlets are really unscrupulous in order to attract attention. They dare to write anything. N.I. Yang was in the back seat. Although he was almost 40 years old, he took good care of himself. He put his hand on Qinjia's hand and looked at the familiar scenery outside the window. He sighed. I haven't been back in a long time. How's my sister? Pudding nodded. Mom, she's fine. Where's Little Bean? She's doing an internship at Southside and helping out Mom. And I Yang sighed. I didn't expect one of you to go into business and the other to study medicine. I thought you two would always be little princesses. Uncle N.I. Yang, you haven't seen my brother yet, right? N.I. Yang was in a good mood when he heard Pudding's words. Yeah, I've lived overseas for many years and rarely come back. I only met your parents 5 years ago in Australia. As for your brother, I've only seen his photo, but I've never seen him in person. Then you're in luck this time. He was studying abroad in the UK, but this is our coming-of-age ceremony, so he came back early. You'll be able to see him soon. Chen Jie was excited and couldn't suppress the joy in her heart. Great, I'll be able to see everyone again. The car slowly drove into South Hill Manor. Qin Chu and Huamin were already prepared and waiting at the door. Ever since N.I. Yang went abroad, he rarely came back. N.I. Yang and Qinjia's daughter had grown up and was only a few years younger than Pudding and Little Bean. However, because he went to the summer camp with the school this time, it was a pity that he couldn't make it. The car slowly stopped in front of South Hill Manor. Chen Jie got out of the car and ran towards Huamin. Sister Mian. She gave Huamin a big hug. Huamin still liked to dress plainly. She wore a plain-colored dress, and her long hair reached her shoulders. There was a faint smile on his face. The corners of his eyes showed signs of age. On the other hand, Qin Chu didn't change much. He was still as handsome as ever. Standing beside Huamin, the two looked like a natural couple. Sis, you're still the same. You look the same as when I saw you 5 years ago. N.I. Yang smiled. Brat, you're the only one who knows how to talk. Did you see the news? Everyone in China is saying that you're going to make a comeback, Huamin joked. N.I. Yang laughed. Sure, I'll sign with GK when I make a comeback. After all, you're the biggest media company now. What do you think, brother-in-law? N.I. Yang looked at Qin Chu. The corners of Qin Chu's lips curled up slightly. I can't make the decision. You can ask our president Qin. Qin Chu looked at Pudding. Pudding put her arm around N.I. Yang's shoulder from behind and said playfully, Uncle N.I. Yang, if you sign with my company, I'll definitely give you the best treatment. But if you want to make a comeback, will your wife agree? Chapter 48:13. Okay, stop fooling around. Go inside and rest. Huamin smiled and invited N.I. Yang and Qinjie into the house. Pudding turned around and walked out. Mom, I have something to do at the company. I need to go take care of it. Okay, when you come back from work, pick up your sister at Southside, Huamin instructed. I'm going to pick up Little Bean. What about Qin Guogua? Who's going to pick him up? Pudding asked. I'll pick him up, Huamin said. I'll go, Qin said. You two are so biased. Pudding was picky, so she turned around and walked away. Pudding and Little Bean turned 18 this year. Therefore, the Qin family, which hadn't been so lively in a long time, decided to hold a grand coming-of-age ceremony for the two little princesses. Then, in the next few years, Huamin and Qin family and friends would gather. This was a very good thing for the couple, as they could see their good friends whom they hadn't seen in years. Pudding and the chauffeur drove back to the company in the Rolls-Royce. They were in time for a meeting of GK Entertainment's artists. GK Entertainment was a subsidiary of GK Corporation, and it was the largest company in China. After Su Yu disappeared, the artists who replaced him from Imperial Star Entertainment all joined GK. Qin Zhaozhao, Qin Chu and Huamin's eldest daughter, Pudding, became the youngest member of the board of directors of GK Entertainment. She was also the CEO of GK Entertainment. Some people asked why she didn't go to school or study abroad when she was 18 years old. The answer was that she and Little Bean had finished all the courses when they were 16 years old. After graduating from numerous universities, they didn't need to waste time abroad. 2 years ago, the two sisters came back to China. Qin Mumu studied medicine and became an excellent brain surgeon, which she inherited from Qin Chu. Qin Zhaozhao studied finance and returned to the family business, becoming an excellent manager. Qin Guogua, who was 4 years younger than the twins, was still studying in England. At 14 years old, he went to university. The 3 children of the Qin family were geniuses. Their genes were amazing. President Qin. Hello, President Qin. GK Entertainment Qin Zhaozhao was wearing a white long-sleeved chiffon blouse with a dark blue fishtail skirt and high heels. She was dressed a little maturely and professionally, but it couldn't hide the face of a teenage girl. There were also people who said that there were obvious differences between the twins after they grew up. Little Bean was only slightly fatter than Pudding. Pudding's eyes looked a little like Lu Yan's, with a hint of heroism and dominance. Little Bean, on the other hand, was calm and composed. She looked more like Huamin. Therefore, those who were familiar with them would never confuse them. President Qin, the meeting room is ready. Is everyone here? The female secretary was at a loss for words. Qin Zhaozhao took the meeting materials from her and asked casually, Liao Mukin didn't come? Yes, President Qin, they must be stuck in a traffic jam. I just called his cell phone and his agent's cell phone, but they didn't pick up. I'll try again later. The female secretary was a little ashamed. It's not your fault. Let's begin. Pudding's personality and way of doing things were very similar to her father, Qin Chu. But there was one difference. Qin Chu was more or less the same when it came to work and life. He didn't talk much and was more cold. Pudding, on the other hand, was cold and selfless when it came to work. In life, she was much gentler and wasn't as domineering. This was one of the things that people in the industry thought highly of her. As the heir of a rich second-generation heir, Qin Zhaozhao was the most popular. The media once reported that she would replace her brother as the sole heir of GK. Qin Zhaozhao walked into the meeting room with the documents. 106 of the 107 heavyweight artists signed under GK were here. President Qin. All the artists stood up when they saw her walk in. In fact, all of them were older than the president. After all, the president's 18th birthday was in a few days. Chapter 48:14. Qin Zhaozhao sat in the president's seat and lowered her head with a serious expression. Let's begin. President Qin, Mukin isn't here yet. Do you want to wait? A female artist reminded. No need. The president's tone was cold. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Everyone looked up and saw Liao Mukin, who was wearing jeans and a white short-sleeved shirt, leaning against the door with a lollipop in his mouth. Sorry, President Qin, I'm late. There was a traffic jam. He took out the lollipop from his mouth and explained. Qin Zhaozhao tilted her head and looked at him. You couldn't get through to your phone in traffic? My phone ran out of battery. Your agent's phone ran out of battery too? Qin Zhaozhao was vaguely angry. After all, this wasn't the first time this guy was late for a meeting. My agent didn't bring her phone and left it in the dressing room at headquarters, he argued. Qin Zhaozhao glanced at him and looked down at the information. Don't think that just because you're popular, you can look down on others. Of course not. Even if I don't care about others, I still care about my boss. Liao Mukin smiled cheekily. Go back to your seat and start the meeting, the president said. He staggered in a few steps but didn't sit in his seat. Instead, he sat in the first row, very close to Pudding. Then, he propped his hands up and looked at his young boss. Liao Mukin was the most popular male star under GK. Speaking of which, it was quite amazing that he became popular less than half a year ago. Half a year ago, GK held a rookie audition for the Rising Star, and Liao Mukin won the championship with 80 million online votes. He got the chance to sign a contract with GK, and GK even signed this newbie with 10 million yuan. For a time, no one could compare to him. What was even more strange was that this guy sang and ran away. He acted and danced. His dance moves weren't standard, and his talk shows were always off-topic. However, it was this kind of person who wasn't good at anything that occupied the #1 position in the country. Just Weibo's trending searches alone had been on it more than 100 times. His Weibo followers had also soared from 20,000 to 18 million. Every time he posted on Weibo, there would be as many as 500,000 comments. The reposts had exceeded 20 million. Therefore, in the first half of the year, he had accepted 12 endorsements alone. And they were all international A-listers. He was so jealous of the seniors in the industry. Qin Zhaozhao had always looked down on this brat. She felt that he did not have any talent and only relied on that devilish face of his. More importantly, that face of his. Thinking of this, Qin Zhaozhao rubbed her temples irritably. The company will be shooting 3 big movies in the second half of the year. One of them is a disaster movie with Hollywood in the United States. Our company has already confirmed that we will invest 500 million yuan and get a role in a very important role. Hearing this, the crowd below began to stir. Everyone thought that such a good opportunity would definitely belong to Liao Mukin. Unexpectedly, the CEO changed the topic. I've discussed it with the board of directors, and we've decided that Lu Jia will star in the film. As soon as she finished speaking, everyone was shocked. Who was Lu Jia? She was a newcomer who had been in the company for 3 years but had never been popular. She was chosen because she acted in a teen idol web drama. Because of the high viewership, she was chosen by GK's agent. After he entered GK, the company messed up a few projects, but he never got famous because he couldn't find a suitable persona. In terms of popularity and appearance, he couldn't compare to Liao Mukin. President, I have an objection. Liao Mukin took out his lollipop and raised his hand again. Speak. The young CEO glanced at him from the corner of her eyes. Why not me? He dared to ask. He was so direct and asked the CEO in front of everyone. Chapter 48:15. Qin Zhaozhao looked at the dazzling superstar below the stage and said calmly, because you're not suitable. No one dared to make a sound, and the room fell into silence. Liao Mukin raised his chin provocatively and continued to question her, how am I not suitable? She stared into his eyes and said mercilessly, because you have no talent and no morals. Look at yourself. As a superstar, you sing out of tune, you can't keep up with the rhythm of your dance, you're offline when you're acting, and you even filmed a car accident on a variety show. How dare you ask me that? But if I'm like this, I'm still a superstar. No matter how good other people are, they're not as popular as me. I have the biggest contract in the company, I get the most money, I have the most endorsements, and I make the most profits for the company. Also, President Qin, I want to ask, if you don't like me, why did you spend so much money to sign me in the first place? The guy almost said, aren't you slapping yourself in the face with money? At this moment, Pudding, oh no, we should call her Little President Qin now. Little President Qin's face darkened bit by bit. Since she was young, very few people spoke to her so rudely. Even her sister, who always dissed her, didn't dare to cross the line like this. This condescending fellow was really, Mukin, Don't you think you've crossed the line? Do you know that little President Qin is President Qin's most beloved daughter? It won't do you any good to offend her. The female star beside him cautiously reminded the guy. However, the guy smiled slightly and said, "Don't worry, I'll go somewhere else if you don't want me here." Of course, he didn't let little President Qin hear what he said. The young female president stared at him for 5 seconds and finally said, "It was my decision to sign you, but I won't let you embarrass GK." Then, she went back to reading the documents and continuing the meeting, ignoring the man. Back then, when they had signed him, the board of directors had not objected to it. It was because this kid was very popular. He was a veritable superstar. However, Qin Chu was once curious why his daughter signed a superstar. It wasn't her style. Of course, Pudding always had a secret that Qin Chu, Huamin, and even Little Bean didn't know. That secret was naturally related to Liao Mukin, but ever since he came to the company, every time he went against her, she found him an eyesore. She didn't want to terminate the contract. She was conflicted over and over again. After the meeting, President Qin did not forget to remind his secretary, "That guy is late. Remember to deduct his salary." Then she got up and was about to leave with the information bag, Chairman Qin. Behind him, the man's playful voice sounded again. She stopped but did not turn back. "Anything else?" "President Qin, I heard this weekend is your coming-of-age ceremony. I wonder if I'm lucky enough to be invited." Before he could finish his sentence, she raised her hand and interrupted, "No." "Tisk. How cold and heartless. But, even if you refuse to let me participate, I still have a way to go." He smiled mysteriously. This beautiful Xiao was probably the most interesting girl he had ever seen in his life. She was only 18 years old, but she always pretended to be mature. Her style of doing things and her words were not at all like an 18-year-old. Sometimes he would even wonder if she was a transmigrator. Chapter 48:16. The weather in the north in October was unpredictable. Normally, the sky would be clear, but as soon as a cool breeze blew, it would start to drizzle, bringing with it a hint of autumn. After the meeting, Qin Zhaozhao went back to her office to read some documents. Seeing that it was about time, she picked up her bag and left the office. The female assistant didn't forget to put a beige windbreaker on her. As she walked out, she saw a familiar face. "President Qin," the man called out politely. "Uncle Yang." The ordinary-looking man in front of her was her father's assistant and right-hand man for many years. Now, he was one of the directors of GK. Qin Chu gave him some shares and asked him to participate in the internal management of GK. Yang had been around for 2 generations. "How's the preparation for your coming-of-age ceremony going?" Yang asked with a smile. "My parents have been working on it." "That's good. I haven't seen President Qin and Mrs. Qin in a while. Come to my place for dinner tonight. My little brother is back." "Haha, really? That kid is back. I'll go with your uncle after work." Hearing that Qin Guoguo was back, everyone was overjoyed. Qin Zhaozhao got off work early. She walked out of GK and drove her white Lamborghini to South Side. GK was a big company and had countless luxury cars. When she was at work, receiving clients, or attending events, she and her dad mostly used limited edition Rolls-Royces. In private, Qin Chu liked Maybachs, and Huamin liked Audi R8s. This hadn't changed for many years. Little Bean liked the Porsche 911. She always thought that it was the most beautiful car in Porsche. Pudding, on the other hand, liked Lamborghinis with strong lines. In fact, very few girls liked Lamborghinis because they were too strong and sharp. However, for some reason she liked them. She had always wanted to buy the Sixth Element. However, that car had disappeared a long time ago and couldn't be bought anymore. Therefore, she ordered a new model for herself. It was white and looked very cool when she drove it. Pudding and Little Bean got their international driver's licenses when they were 16, so they had 2 years of driving experience. Little Bean was lazy and didn't want to drive, especially since she was doing her internship at Southside. Huamin didn't want her to be so high profile. Therefore, the 2 sisters often shared the same channel. When Pudding got off work, she would go to South Side to pick her sister up. Southern District Gate. The white Lamborghini was parked in the parking lot. The numbers ending with 6 were particularly eye-catching. She got out of the car gracefully. Her fishtail skirt swayed in the wind. Fortunately, her assistant had brought her a jacket. Otherwise, it would have been really cold. As soon as she entered the hall, the nurse immediately greeted her respectfully. "Mississippi, I'm here to pick Little Bean up," she said. Her face was cold and distant, as if she was talking to a stranger. "Second miss is in the lab. I'll go get her." "No need, I'll wait for her downstairs for a while." Then she found an empty seat and sat down. Everyone in the hospital knew that she was Director Hu's daughter. The eldest and the second eldest were twins. They were very similar, but their personalities were completely different. 10 minutes later, Little Bean, who was wearing a white lab coat, ran down the stairs. She smelled of formalin. "Big May, you came to pick me up? Who went to pick up that brat?" Little Bean called Pudding Big May and forced her sister to call her Second May. However, Pudding never called her that. "Dad went." "I think so," she said faintly. "If you're biased, tell Dad to pick me up tomorrow. You go pick up that brat." Little Bean was unhappy. "Do you think I'm your chauffeur?" Pudding rolled her eyes. Chapter 48:17. You're a good driver. If I could do it myself, do you think I'd use you? Cut the crap. Get in the car. Pudding didn't want to argue with Little Bean and walked out. The sisters got into the sports car and left the hospital. On the way, Little Bean was restless and gossiped. "Sis, you and Liao Mukin, why mention him all of a sudden?" "Sis, Dad and Mom haven't seen him yet, right?" Little Bean asked. "Yeah. If one day, do you think Mom and Dad will remember something when they see him?" Little Bean's eyes became complicated. Pudding's hands on the steering wheel twitched. It was obvious that she was feeling emotional. "I don't want them to see each other so soon," Pudding said. "But you can't keep it a secret forever. Besides, Dad and Mom might not remember, or rather, everyone might not remember except for the two of us." "Shut up. Stop talking." Pudding was agitated. Little Bean was about to say something when her phone rang. Hello. What is it?" Little Bean picked up the phone and smiled. She didn't need to guess to know that it was Gao Buyuan. Gao Buyuan was the only one in the group who didn't study abroad. He inherited his grandfather's and father's expectations and got into the best public security university in the country. He went to university in Jing City and was said to be the most outstanding student in the group. After he grew up, Gao Buyuan's figure was much better than when he was young. Maybe it was because he worked out often, but he became thinner and had an 8-pack. Gao Buyuan and Little Bean's friendship hadn't changed. Although he went to school in Jing City, he had to come back every Friday and leave on Sunday night. Rain or shine, the two didn't say it out loud, but they had established a relationship. Zhu Lingling and Huamin were very happy. Gao Ran, who was promoted to the deputy director of the public security department, often came to drink with Qin Chu. The two families were as close as before. "Little Bean, you're in the car?" "Yeah, my sister is here to pick me up." "I heard your brother came back," Gao Buin, who was wearing a police officer uniform, said handsomely. "You know that? Good news. My mom called me a long time ago." "So when are you coming back?" Little Bean couldn't wait. "Isn't the coming-of-age ceremony on Saturday? I'll go back on Friday night. It's still the same time." "That won't do. It's too late. Apply for leave from the teacher and come back on Thursday. I want you to come back early and accompany me to shop." "I need to ask for leave." "What? You're not willing? Am I not worth it?" Little Bean pouted and began to whine. No, I'm willing. I'll tell the teacher in a bit and change the ticket." Okay. I'll pick you up then." Little Bean was very happy. "You drive? Forget it. Let my mom go to the airport." Gao Buyuan was worried about Little Bean's driving skills. After all, she still held the record of crashing into a Porsche 3 times in a week on the road. Another big party. That's great. Unfortunately, brother Yunchu can't. Gao Buyuan didn't finish his sentence. Little Bean quickly shushed him, telling him to stop talking. "Don't rub salt into my wound," she whispered. After Wei Yunchu went to study in the United States, he hadn't returned for 5 years. The last time they saw each other was 5 years ago. At that time, they were only 13 or 14 years old. On the day Wei Yunchu left, Pudding had a fever and fell ill. After she woke up, she blocked his phone and WeChat and never contacted Wei Yunchu again. There was only one reason for all of this, and that was Wei Yunchu had left the country with Tian Tian. Chapter 48:18. Realizing that he had misspoken, Gao Buyan immediately shut his mouth. Little Bean, wait for me. I'll go ask for leave." "Good girl." Little Bean hung up the phone with a satisfied expression. Then she looked at her sister with a smile. "Big May, I'm so sorry. I unknowingly showed off my love to you again, and it's of such high quality." Pudding was still calm. She only replied with 3 words, "I'm used to it." No matter what the situation was, her sister's calm attitude was very similar to Mommy's, Little Bean thought. However, although Mommy's personality was calm, she wasn't cold. Her sister was the combination of Mommy and Daddy's personalities. On one side, she was calm, and on the other, she was cold and a little arrogant. Although she was only 18 years old, she had been helping Qin Chu with official business for more than 2 years. Other than helping the family business, Pudding also had her own venture capital company and knew how to make all kinds of investments. Occasionally, she would also play the stock market. Therefore, she was the richest among this group of super-rich second-generation heirs. She was truly a little rich woman. The sisters drove back to South Hill Manor. Their grandparents, uncles, and other immediate family members were all present. They were all busy in the front and back of the house. Qin Chu drove to pick up Qin Guogua, who had just returned from Germany. Pudding glanced around but didn't see Huamin. "Grandma, where's Mommy?" Pudding held the old woman's hand and asked in a low voice. Your Mommy went to pick up guests. She'll be back soon." As soon as the old woman finished speaking, Huamin's car came back. She didn't drive her sports car. Instead, she used her family's Mercedes-Benz. When Pudding saw the 2 people who got out of the car, she instantly burst into tears. Little Bean ran over excitedly and tugged at the corner of her sister's clothes. "Sis? That's..." Little Bean didn't finish her sentence because she couldn't say anything else. Beside Huamin were 2 old people. Although they were almost 70 years old, they still looked so young. Lady Sue was wearing a white suit and skirt like the Queen of England. She was wearing a white top hat and carrying a branded bag. The head of the Sue family, who was also Su Yu's father, wore a dark gray Chinese tunic suit and held a walking stick in his hand. His aura was still as strong as ever. Lord Su had passed away 8 years ago. At that time, Huamin had specially brought his entire family to attend his funeral. The Su family had been living in seclusion in Jiangnan town and rarely came back. In everyone's memory, the 2 elders of the Su family had no children. They only knew Huamin because Lady Su was hospitalized at Southside many years ago. Since then, the 2 families had been on good terms. The Su couple loved the twins very much. When the twins were young, they had been fostered by them. As for the reason, no one could remember because it had been too long. Yes, this was everyone's memory after Su Yu disappeared. The last thing he asked Master Wu to do was to erase everyone's memories. Even N, who had followed Su Yu for many years, got married and had children. He changed his name and didn't remember his master. Imperial Star was also given to the twins as a gift. In the end, it was merged into GK. However, in everyone's memory, they felt that this company was forcefully acquired by GK because no one was managing it. They didn't remember who the previous owner of Imperial Star was. However, don't lose your composure. Don't lose your composure. I understand how you feel. Little Bean held her sister's hand tightly and reminded her in a low voice. Chapter 48:19. Pudding nodded. She calmed herself down and walked toward the 2 elders of the Su family. Pudding walked up to them and gave them a big hug. Mr. Lord Su, Grandma Su, thank you for coming, she said. Silly child, I've watched you grow up. How can we not come to such an important ceremony? Mrs. Su smiled gently. Where's Little Bean? Mr. Su asked. Mr. Lord Su, I'm here. Ha. Little Bean was still as naughty as ever. She jumped up to the couple in a flash. Don't be so naughty. You'll scare Mr. Lord Su, Pudding scolded. No way. Mr. Lord Su won't be that timid. The couple smiled. Looking at the twins who were both 18 years old, they realized how unforgiving time was. Mr. Lord Su, Grandma Su, my grandparents are waiting for you inside. They've prepared your favorite Longjing tea. Come on in. Pudding and Little Bean helped the couple into the house. Pudding, is your dad back? Huamin looked at his eldest daughter and asked. Not yet. That's weird. It's been so long. He should have come back before me. Huamin looked at his watch and felt a little uneasy. Don't worry, Mommy. Your husband and son's IQ combined is almost higher than Auntie's. Don't worry, Little Bean comforted her mother with a smile. Huamin smiled and shook his head. At the airport, when Qin Chu picked up his son, he saw the bodyguards behind him. Because he knew them. Ah Lai. Qin Chu was slightly surprised. Hello, President Qin. We were ordered to protect the young master. Ah Lai scratched his head, a little embarrassed. Where are Yen and Fei? Qin Chu asked. They were supposed to arrive around this time, but my boss had something to do and went to Malaysia. They'll be here tonight at the latest. Qin Chu nodded, pleased with Lu Yan's arrangement. In fact, his son was already 14 years old and could be considered a young adult. It was not a big deal for him to fly back to China alone. But Lu Yan was still worried, so she secretly arranged for 2 supermasters to escort them all the way back from Berlin. Dad. The 14-year-old Qin Yuyao was already 1.75 meters tall. If Pudding and Little Bean were described as exquisite, then this kid could only be described as beautiful. She used to think that no matter how good-looking a man was, he would only be the best in the world like Qin Chu, Su Yu, and Xiao Fei. When this kid grows up, you'll find that he alone can crush all of his male elders. How did Huamin give birth to such a handsome son? There was a period of time when she even suspected that her son was not her own. Was it a mistake or had he been swapped? Qin Chu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Little young master wasn't so heaven-defying when he was young. Although he was extremely handsome, he wasn't so attractive to both men and women. Now that she had grown up, her face was enough to ascend to the throne of the most beautiful face in Asia. He dressed very casually, perhaps because of something in the dark. Qin Yuyao liked to wear light blue jeans, the kind that was a little shabby, but he couldn't have holes in his pants. He had severe OCD and couldn't accept holes in his pants. He only liked to wear white short-sleeved shirts on his upper body, and he loved a brand, Versace. Almost every white short-sleeved shirt had the head of Medusa on it. No one remembered that there was once a man who liked to wear Medusa. Are you tired? Qin Chu patted his son's shoulder. Men were never as good at expressing their feelings as women. So, with just a look or a gesture, the kid knew that his dad loved him deeply. Chapter 48:20. Qin Yuyao shook his head but didn't say anything. He was similar to Qin Chu in that he didn't talk much, but his words were always gold. 2 years ago, when his son went abroad, Huamin cried for a long time. He thought that his son was too young and was afraid that he wouldn't be able to adapt to a foreign country and would miss home. However, Qin Chu insisted on sending him. Reality proved that Qin Chu was right. Qin Yuyao didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, he was like a fish in water and was more cheerful than before. This time, he asked for leave to come back to China because of his sister's coming-of-age ceremony. Get in the car. Qin Chu was happy. He put his hand on his son's back and the father and son got into the Rolls-Royce. Ah Lai and another of Lu Yan's men got into the second car. Ah Lai could be considered to have borrowed the young master's glory to return to the country once again and come to Sea City. Did you prepare a gift for your sisters? On the way, Qin Chu asked on purpose. No, Qin Guogui answered calmly. Aren't you afraid that they'll be angry? Big sis is super rich and doesn't lack anything. It's meaningless to give her anything. As for second sis, she's like a happy husky. She'll forget about anything in less than 3 hours. So, based on the above analysis, it's better not to give her anything. Hearing his son's words, Qin Chu almost laughed out loud. This kid had been abroad for 2 years, and he had become more and more shrewd. The car slowly drove into South Hill Manor. Qin Yuyao followed Qin Chu and got out of the car one after another. He was carrying a limited edition Louis Vuitton black travel bag and wearing a pair of pale yellow sunglasses. He looked like a European superstar. Little Bean naughtily took out her cell phone and recorded a video of her father and brother. She teased, "Look, my dad is such an excellent person, but beside my brother, he's like an agent." Little Bean's words made everyone laugh. Pudding looked calm. She crossed her arms and looked at the father and son who were walking over. They were the 2 men closest to her in the world. Pudding quietly admired the 2 people who looked similar to her and felt an indescribable warmth in her heart. "That's Yuyao. My God, he's already so tall." Lady Su stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, could not help but sigh. Compared to the twins, she didn't know much about the young master. Qin Yuyao's personality was very independent when he was young. He almost didn't need to be specially taken care of. He was the kind of person who was super free-range. When he was 12 years old, he could go abroad alone and live in a dormitory outside the school. Furthermore, it was said that he was proficient in 12 different languages and was extremely talented. Her IQ had never been measured, but a conservative estimate was that she was above her 2 sisters. She was even a little smarter than Big Sister. "My grandson is getting better and better. He doesn't look like a 14-year-old at all." Lady Qin stood proudly in front of Lady Su. Grandma Su, do you think my little brother is suitable to be a celebrity?" "He'll definitely have a lot of fans on Weibo," Little Bean said happily. "Nonsense. My grandson is not a celebrity. Filming and singing are so tiring. We don't lack money, so we don't want to do that kind of hard labor." Grandma rejected directly. "Dad, where's Mom?" From afar, Qin Yuyao noticed many guests in the house. He glanced around but didn't see his mother. He couldn't help but worry. "Do you miss your mom?" Qin Chu tilted his head and teased his son. Little young master's face was filled with shyness. Chapter 48:21. Ignoring his father's teasing, Qin Yuyao walked in with big strides. Looking at the 4 kind-looking elders in the living room, he quickly bowed. "Grandpa, Grandma, Master Lord Su, Grandma Su. You seem to have grown a lot taller." Old Master Qin's face was full of affection. However, although everyone was happy that Huamin gave birth to 3 sons, the twins were still more favored. The Qin family didn't have a tradition of favoring sons over daughters, so they naturally didn't favor sons. Pudding and Little Bean's usual teasing was just a joke. After all, the birth of their younger brother made the family laugh and feel happy. Qin Yuyao stood in the living room and chatted with the 4 elders for a while. Then, he looked around but still didn't see his mother. He couldn't help but frown slightly. In the end, he couldn't help but walk up to Little Bean. "Foodie, where's Mom?" "Yes, you didn't see wrong." This kid rarely called the twin sister unless it was a formal occasion with many people. Otherwise, he would always call Pudding a nouveau riche and Little Bean a foodie. Little Bean rolled her eyes. "How old are you? Are you a child? Are you looking for Mom everywhere? On such an important day." Mom naturally went to pick up our family's distinguished guests. "Don't you know that Uncle Rick and Auntie Cece are back? And Auntie Lingling, Auntie Xiaowei, and the others?" "All right." Seeing that his second sister wasn't talking to him properly, Qin Yuyao couldn't be bothered with her and turned to leave. That cold aura was exactly the same as Qin Chu's. Little Bean was about to complain to Pudding that this kid came back to find trouble with his mother. However, when she turned around, she realized that Pudding, who was still here just now, had disappeared. She didn't know where she had gone. Little Bean looked around curiously. Finally, she saw Pudding in the back garden while standing in the corridor on the top floor. She was talking to someone with a solemn expression. After taking a closer look at the person beside her sister, Little Bean turned pale with fright. Then he ran in the direction of the rear courtyard, in the back garden of South Hill Manor. In a quiet corner, Pudding sat on a wooden swing with a lonely expression. Beside her stood a man with white hair. He was wearing a green-gray robe and had expensive prayer beads in his hand. "Fifth Grandpa, I still can't forget him," Pudding said in a low voice. The old man sighed slightly. "In the blink of an eye, it's been more than 10 years. I'm old now and no one remembers me, but I can't forget you. You've lived with him for so long. I'm surprised that the array didn't work on you and Little Bean. Later, I thought that the reason why you two weren't lured into the dream was because of the jade gourds. Although I don't know where Lu Yen got the gourds, it seems that they're really powerful. Not only can they ward off evil spirits, but they're also unaffected by any external forces. Back then, Master Wu and Suyu wanted to see each other in their dreams, and in their last conversation with Suyu. Suyu's last wish was for all his friends and family in this world to forget about him. That way, there wouldn't be any pain. Master Wu also knew that Suyu had already started his own life in another parallel world. Although this was a little heartless, it was the best choice for him and everyone else. Especially Huamin. After Suyu disappeared, Huamin couldn't walk out of that shadow for a long time. Later on, Master Wu activated the array and everyone's memories of Suyu were erased. Only Pudding and Little Bean retained them. It also became the only secret between the two sisters and Master Wu. Even Huamin and Qin Chu didn't know about it. Chapter 48-22. After hearing Master Wu's words, Pudding smiled bitterly. "That's good too. I don't want to forget him. That's unfair to him. Even the Dream Quest said that death isn't the only end. Forgetting is, so how could I forget him? Pudding, you've grown up. There are some things you can't be so stubborn about. He's not dead. He's just starting a new life. Fifth Grandpa, can I go and see him? Just one look." Pudding's eyes were filled with eagerness. She really just wanted to see him, just one look. "That's impossible. The world he's in isn't our world at all. I can't bring you to see him across space and time. Then why can you meet him in his dreams?" Pudding refused to give up. At that time, it was because he still had a trace of longing for this world. Now that he has let go of everything, I can't enter his dreams anymore. "Child, don't be stubborn. This is his life and also your life." Master Wu's words were filled with sadness. Pudding's eyes turned red, and she felt terrible. Although Little Bean missed Suyu a lot, she didn't miss him as much as her sister did. For a while, Pudding wondered what kind of feelings she had for Suyu. Was it love? Was it love between a man and a woman? Or was it dependence? Was it because she was used to relying on Suyu all these years? She thought about it for a long time, but she still couldn't find an answer. Pudding's special feelings for Suyu weren't between a man and a woman, but it wasn't kinship either. It was a special feeling. It was beyond these superficial feelings. So far, only 4 people knew about this complicated feeling. Pudding herself, Little Bean, Master Wu, and Wei Yunchu. Wei Yunchu, who liked Pudding deeply, was used by Tian because of this. He felt that Pudding couldn't let go of Suyu, so she wouldn't give him any chance. That was why Wei Yunchu chose to go abroad a few years ago and cut off all contact with Pudding. The adults did not know what happened between the children. They only felt that perhaps they had grown up and had their own thoughts. Therefore, the elders didn't interfere. Originally, Jiang Xiaowei and Huamin becoming in-laws was just a joke. The main thing was whether there was fate between the children. Pudding wasn't as lucky as Little Bean. Since young, Little Bean had only hung out with Gao Buyuan. She had a clear goal and once said that she would get married after Buyuan graduated. Qin Chu and Huamin naturally wouldn't object. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran also liked Little Bean very much. They had treated her like their own daughter all these years. As for Pudding, while she was struggling with her feelings for Suyu, she also forced Wei Yunchu to leave. She felt very guilty and felt that she had let him down. Therefore, after Wei Yunchu left, Pudding put most of her energy into GK. Therefore, in less than 2 years, GK Entertainment was already under Pudding's sole management. Qin Chu was also gratified that his daughter was an outstanding successor. Fifth Grandpa. Little Bean ran in, panting. I told you to eat less. Look at you, you're so tired after running for a while. Master Wu looked at Little Bean lovingly. Her face was similar to Pudding's, but she had a completely different personality and soul. Fifth Grandpa, you came at the right time. Persuade my sister. Let bygones be bygones. We love handsome Su very much, but he's no longer in this world. After gasping for breath, Little Bean said this with a serious face. It was unexpected. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.